Hey, Hidden Gems. It is lunchtime, and I am outside the Arapahoe Courthouse, County Courthouse. Hey, everyone. Okay, I see a thumbs up. I know I'm live. So, this morning, we heard from Cassie Rodriguez. Cassie Rodriguez is a really important person in this case. I am at the James Craig trial. James Craig has been charged with murdering his wife of 23 years, Angie, with cyanide and arsenic and Visine drops. But Cassie Rodriguez is the one that was emailing James Craig back and forth about sending him the potassium cyanide that Caitlin Romero yesterday testified that she saw when the package arrived. And we have all of the exchanges between Cassie and Dr. James Craig in my backstory, if you're curious, and how James Craig was able to manipulate Cassie into thinking that he really needed this potassium cyanide. I also have heard, just so you know, that there are going to be some big witnesses after lunch. So I've got to head back really soon. And we'll be bringing you, once again, the latest recap right after court is over. We'll head home, we'll get our notes together and bring you a recap of everything you need to know, since I understand there is no public live stream and this trial is so important and worthy of being discussed and understood. Justice for Angie, justice for Angela Craig, a mother to 6 children who miss their mother. So, but I do want to bring up a witness yesterday that I felt like I didn't talk about enough before I head back in, and that is Caitlin Romero. Caitlin Romero, to remind all of you, is the woman who opened up the invoice of the personal package for her boss, dentist, Dr. James Craig, and saw that it was potassium cyanide, and then spent the entire next few days sort of torn with this idea that Angela could possibly be sick because her boss, who she trusted, might be poisoning his wife. And it was something she pushed away over and over again. It couldn't possibly be true. She was even asked on the stand, why didn't you tell people earlier? And she said, because I couldn't believe another human, not just her boss, but just any other human, could be capable of poisoning another human, let alone her boss's wife and mother to his 6 children. And so she shared this story, and I understand why she didn't at first, but she's also a hero in this story. Okay, sound is back. All right. I unplugged my mic. So I'll just say this. I fell asleep thinking of Caitlin Romero yesterday after I did the recap, after I talked about her, after I've always thought she was a hero in this case. Like I said, even after realizing that she couldn't fathom another human being poisoning another human being, let alone her boss and Angie, the mother to his 6 children, I understand why she didn't share at first about the potassium cyanide. She trusted him. But yet she finally came forward to Ryan Redfern, who was close friends with James Craig, been close friends with him since dental school, who had partnered with him to help him in his financial situation. And he brought this information forward, and the police started investigating that day. So yes, she is a hero. And so as I went to bed last night, thinking about how the defense tried to embarrass her on the stand and how uncomfortable she looked during this testimony when she had to admit that, yes, she was having a somewhat emotional affair with her boss, it made me angrier and angrier as I fell asleep and as the hours went by. So I just want to talk about her again. And I want to talk about what we've learned about James Craig since just this trial has begun and since we've seen the affidavit. James Craig was an incredibly manipulative person. James Craig had affairs his entire marriage. James Craig was telling his wife in the hospital, this isn't from the backstory, this is from the affidavit, that while he was poisoning her, he woke up and texted her and said, I had a dream about you, sorry, there's people walking by before I say this. I had a dream about you, about making love to you, and I miss you, while she is dying in the hospital from his doing. Like, this is a sick individual. He is living a completely other life. This is a man who we've learned wrote a hit list from jail. This is a man who is still framing his dead, allegedly murdered wife, claiming that she was trying to frame him for murdering her so she could have the upper hand in divorce proceedings. This is a man who was texting 3 women while she laid in the hospital a song and poem he'd written. This is a man who is incredibly manipulative. And so Caitlin, while in his office, this is a man who had power over her, who was paying her salary, who had hired her, and he is confiding in her some emotional things about his life, and she is being a supportive co-worker to her boss. And I just want to say I believe that she was manipulated into this emotional, personal affair, and he had the power. And he had the power. He started it. He created this situation. And actually, it was one that probably also got her to not report the potassium cyanide as quickly as she should have. And it was probably why she felt so bad that the package was opened and did everything he requested her to do, and that she didn't tell on him. That's what manipulators do. And so, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about her. Last night, as I was laying in bed and thinking about what the defense did and how I reported on it, I feel like I didn't give her enough credit and pointed out the dynamics and that this wasn't her fault. And I became angry that that's what the defense did to this hero on the stand. So I am Team Caitlin, and I just wanted to share that. So like I said at the beginning of this live, which I'll probably now edit since there were like 3 minutes of me not having sound. So I'll say it again. Before lunch, Cassie Rodriguez testified, and she is the one who was exchanging emails with Dr. James Craig about ordering the potassium cyanide and how he created this idea that it was needed for a research project and that he was presenting. And all of that is in my backstory. After lunch, I have heard there are going to be some pretty important witnesses, some big witnesses, and we will have the entire recap for you after court ends. So hit subscribe, hit notification. Once again, for those that follow my trial recaps, you guys understand that I don't always set an exact time I go live because I have to go over all of my notes and create and make sure I feel fully ready to go live and win. So just hit the bell. If you've already subscribed, hit the bell notification so you know and you're alerted to when I start my live recap. And as soon as I do know when I'm going live, I will schedule it for all of you. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna go take off. I gotta go run back in. Court starts back up in 10 minutes and I've got to go through the security and grab a seat. But I will say I thought a lot about Tammy Daybell during this trial too. It's really sad. And I do believe that Angie was an emotionally abused woman her entire marriage. And my heart breaks for her because we also learned she wanted a safe face and she wanted to keep her family together. And she didn't want to break her family up. And she was very manipulated. She was not manipulative, she was manipulated. And ended up dying a martyr because she desired to stay with this man, in my opinion. We'll see. We'll see what the jury thinks. Allegedly. All right, guys. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.